All sharpening is fundamentally the same. Whether you're sharpening a kitchen knife, or a hunting knife, or an axe, or a plane, or a chisel, it's all the same. What you're trying to achieve is the join between the back of the blade and the bevel needs to be as nearly smooth and even as you can possibly get. On a regular Western kitchen knife, we have two bevels. You have a bevel on this side of the blade and a bevel on this side of the blade. Both bevels come together at about 30 degrees. That means that each bevel individually is about 15 degrees. The easiest way to sharpen a kitchen knife, and even hunting knives and that sort of knife, is to use a steel. There are two kinds of steels. This is a sharpening steel. This part is coated with diamonds. It's essentially a diamond honing stone, although round. This one is a honing steel. It is made from steel that is textured. In order to remove burrs from the edge of the knife. You see chefs wildly honing their knives all the time on TV, but in reality, you probably wouldn't hone your knife like that in a real commercial kitchen, because if you're waving your knife around in a commercial kitchen, you're quite likely to lop somebody's limb off. So instead, in a commercial kitchen, you would hold the knife and use the steel. So for example, if I wanted to hone this edge because I had just been butchering some chicken, for example, and there may be some nicks in the blade from cutting and trimming around the bones, I can do that by holding the steel and the knife and then moving the steel across the blade at a 15-degree angle. Then I turn the knife over, 15-degree angle, move the hone across the edge. And that's how you do it properly, so that nobody is endangered by your knife work. That will leave you with a smooth edge with no burrs on both sides of your knife. Obviously, to sharpen the knife, it's the same process. You hold the steel in one hand, the sharpening steel, and the knife in the other. Then you make a 15-degree angle between the blade of the knife and the sharpening steel. It is not critical. You do not have to make sure that your angle is absolutely identical every single time, because you can see by the patterning along the edge whether or not you have the same angle as the bevel that's already on the knife. So just put it on there, get it whatever you think is 15 degrees. I kind of use my thumb as a reference. It gives me roughly a thickness to go for, and then I pull the steel down the blade. You don't have to do it quickly, and if you want to get the tip, because the tip is more flexed out, you can either rest your knife on the cutting board and get a good solid pass. I'm not pressing down, I'm just letting the weight of the steel. And the same on this side. If you want that edge, that tip, you can just give it a little extra. So you're just going down and you're drawing the steel across, but you're also pulling it back a little in order to get good, clean, even stroke across the whole blade. At 15 degrees. Then, when you're done sharpening, you want to hone to remove any burr. Okay, that's done. This knife is now razor sharp. let me demonstrate. Okay, this is an envelope. Just got some mail. I'm going to take my knife, I'm going to lay it on the edge, and I am going to draw it across to try and... Okay, I won't do the planing one since my hands are too shaky today. I will just do a simple slice. And you can see that that is an even cut all the way. There's no tearing. It's just a nice even cut with lots of tremor-induced curves and wiggles in it. But the knife is wicked sharp. And that is how you obtain sharpness on a kitchen knife, quickly and easily. Sharpening a woodworking chisel or a woodworking plane blade is exactly the same, only you want one more parameter when you do those blades. You need the blade of a chisel and a plane have to be perfectly straight. So instead of using a round steel to work on a curved surface, you need a flat steel to work on a flat surface. And that's why we have honing stones that we use in woodworking rather than cylindrical steels. So you can see by the light along the edge of the blade that the sharpening done by the sharpening steel and by the honing steel is quite even along the entire length. It just takes a little bit of practice to get to the point where you're consistent in how you use those tools. And the same thing is true of woodworking, which we will cover in detail in our next video.